You're listening to Remotely One, a podcast that educates, entertains, and inspires you to take your life back from the office commute. I'm Rick, a former beer rep who left the warehouse to become a voice actor and digital creator.
And I'm Kaleem, a remote work advocate and consultant. We're going to speak with some of the top professionals who have managed to avoid the commute as they share stories from the most inspiring to the most comical, all while working remotely.
Man, this sounds awesome. Let's clock in.
I'm really good, Kaleem. How are you?
Oh, doing pretty well, man. Doing pretty well. You're looking good over there. How you feeling? How you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm good. It's the end of the week. It's already 7 o'clock for us here.
Okay.
So, just after the show, every Friday with my daughter, we do the pizza night. So we do a pizza ourselves and she can watch a movie and, she's 6.
Okay.
So
okay.
looking forward to it.
Amazing.
What type of pizza are you making for tonight? You know what I mean?
We've normally is quite, easy standard, just ham and cheese, like not too crazy. She's 6. No, I'm not going too crazy with her.
You got to wait until she's 7 to you put the hot peppers and things on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome, man.
Welcome back to Remotely One. I am your co-host, Rick Haney, joined by my very bright and alert co-host, Kaleem Clarkson, who, by the way, has not blinked once. Not a single time since we started rolling about an hour ago. I don't know if you noticed that. You are looking alive today, brother.
Son, I'm more than alive, son. I'm alive.
You're more than alive, you're alive. I love it. That's a magic tagline, is it not? How is that even possible?
It's because I'm magic.
Magic. Oh, yes. You're still drinking the Magic Mind, kid. All right.
You know it. You know it, sir.
Oh, my God.
I got that magic on my mind. I'm trying to make that stick.
Ooh, it's like a 70s light pop hit.
For real. And let me just tell you, I have just been crushing it, honestly. I've just been crushing it every day, and it just hasn't failed me yet, bro. It just hasn't.
Oh, right on, man. That's awesome. Hey, listen, I went from a sea of, like, these little chicken scratch Post-it notes all around me. And I was still leaving shit off the list, forgetting about stuff here and there. Everything was falling through the cracks. From that to like a detailed, organized Calendly account in less than 2 weeks. I mean, hey, there was definitely a conscious effort, but Magic Mind is what sparked it. And it's been awesome.
It's amazing, bro. It's amazing. One more time for our listeners, Rick. How can they get some magic on their mind?
Well, that's easy. Go to magicmind.com/remotely one. Get up to 56% off your subscription for the next 10 days. Mm-hmm. Or 20% off your one-time purchase with our code remotely120. That's REMOTELYONE20. Okay? We good on that? Listen, man, I could rap about Magic Mind all day.
Yes, you could.
I'll happily do so, but we got a show to do, man, right?
That's right. Let's do it.
Give us a tease or two about today's guest.
Today I'm nervous again, Rick. Every single week we go through this. My emotions go up. My emotions go down. I start questioning who I am.
You're going to start considering medication for this. I mean, you're nervous all the time. We got to bring you back down to earth.
Nervous all the time.
But today is justified.
Is it? Is it really?
It is. You're geeked up. I'm geeked up too.
Today's guest, Rick. They're originally from Lyon, France. I did that on you. Like how I did that? Lyon, France. Yeah. But listen, our guest, the world travel. They lived in London for 10 years. Okay. They currently resides in Madrid, Spain, which is, the land of olive oil. If you want olive oil, you got to go to Spain, baby. Our guest has some educations, some teachings. They have 2 degrees from the University of Lyon, international business, just their master's. So, global business. I'm seeing a theme here, sir.
That's cool.
Yep. He served as the country director for a company called Eurostaff. Rick, today's guests, they are a speaker, and they speak all over the place.
Yes.
But guess what? The first time he spoke in front of a crowd, he completely froze. He completely froze. Yeah, he completely froze so much that they had to wait 5 minutes for him to collect himself. And now our speaker has overcome that and is now a keynote speaker. So you can overcome anything, Rick.
You see that, folks? Never give in to the fear.
Don't give in.
Fear is a thief.
Don't give in. Our guest today, Rick, the co-founder of EU4UA Association, which connects Ukrainian refugees with European citizens, providing them emergency housing and jobs. So this dude...
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just saving people. Just saving people. Currently, our guest is the co-founder of JobGether, which is the largest job search engine for remote jobs in the world.
That's crazy.
Listeners and viewers, please give a warm welcome to Alex Hernandez! Let's go!
All right, people, settle down, folks.
Settle
especially
down,
you in the
studio
front.
audience. Settle it down. They're a little excited.
This is a professional show, people. Let's go. Get it together. Thank you. Alex, welcome to the show, buddy.
Alex, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Hello, guys. Thanks a lot. I think, Kaleem, you can be a speaker for like an NBA team, you know.
You should be.
You should be, yeah. You should be, yeah.
You hear that, Lakers? You hear that, Lakers? You know, bring me out. Bring me out.
Oh, my gosh.
Thanks for joining us, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no, the pleasure is ours. I look forward to... we got a lot of questions, of course. I mean, your history is very impressive. You've done a lot of different things. First off, Alex, I got to know one thing. You know, you were a superstar employee for, what, 10 years? 9 years?
Yeah, around
And
that, yeah.
one day you just realized that, man, there's something missing here, something big. So you gave it all up and you moved to Spain. Pandemic hits. You start a project with someone you'd never met before. And the only thing you knew was that you both shared this vision. What was that vision? And how did it all lead to what you're doing now?
Yeah, it's actually a funny story. Since, you know, I'm young, I've always been the sort of guy, if I'm not 100% passionate about something, I just can't do it, you know. And I've always also like taken risks. You know, when I was 18, went to Barcelona one day with no connection, no flat, no job, didn't speak a word of Spanish or even English. You know, moved to London without anything, without flat, without jobs. And at the time, so yeah, as you say, 9 years in a business, country director, I had a really good team. In France, the business was working really well, but I was missing something. I was bored. I was not liking living in Paris, even though I'm French, but for me, that was not a good place to live. I was 34, I was like, you know, I've got two options. Option one, like, unfortunately, most of the people, I've got a good job, good salary, I just shut up and stay where I am, which is, you know, nice and cozy. But I didn't want to be the sort of guy at 60 years old looking back and like, look, I've been just bored for the last 30 years of my life. Option two, just, you know, try something, do something. So it was a bit, it was funny because it was a bit like in the movies. In the morning I woke up, I didn't really know I would quit, but I was like, yeah, let's quit. So I just called my boss, he was in Germany. Yeah, I'm quitting today. And they actually put me on leave, on garden leave. So same day I just left the company. I was in for 9 years. What's funny now, but it was not really funny at the time, is a week later, COVID arrived and lockdown arrived.
Jeez.
So I was in Paris.
Overnight.
At the time, with my ex-wife. She also quit the same day as me. So both without jobs. Our daughter was 2 years old, something. I had already mortgages, and we were already in the project of buying a house in Spain.
Wow.
So new mortgage coming up. And I was like, fuck, maybe I, you know, should have waited a bit.
Oh, fuck. What am I going to do?
But I was not that scared. I think I'm a really positive person, and I always believe things will work out. And I think that's probably why things actually work out, you know.
You're an optimist.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't think that things will not work out.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, fine, let's see, you know. And we didn't know what would happen to the world, you know, lockdown, people dying. And to make it a bit funny, couple of weeks later, someone introduced me to a guy called Juan. Juan is Belgian, ex-financial director, who was just coming back from Colombia. He was working and living in Colombia for one of the biggest French company. And same age as me, same situation. He also had a daughter with same age, and just quit his job. And he was like, look, Alex, I want to start a company. I don't want to be alone in the company. And I've got a vision. And his vision was, today most people are not really happy with the job.
Right.
However, they don't do anything. Sometimes because they don't have the network for it. They just don't know how to find a job because they are scared. There are many reasons. But the fact is most people are not happy at the job. We need to build something to help people to find a more meaningful job. And I was like, that's exactly what I think. I love it. I wanted to build something. I didn't want to be alone. And I was like, look, I just quit my job. I don't know if the world's going to end in 2 months.
Right.
Let's try, And what worst case scenario, I'm going to have a bit of fun. So that's how JobGether actually started. And as you can imagine, everyone around me was like, but you're crazy. Starting a company is hard. You need to do it with someone you know, someone you trust. No, that's fine. I just had 2 Zoom calls with him. That's fine. I'm going to start a company with him. And that's how it started.
2 Zoom calls and a company and started. I mean, I love that.
I mean, that's how you know a message is resonating, when you jump off the cliff before you look.
No doubt. So you actually moved to Spain with this new company, or what did you specifically do kind of to get yourself there? Like, you were still planning on moving to Spain. What ended up happening?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, with my ex-wife, we were buying the house, and we had to sign before the 15th of April. I know that because it's my birthday. I remember this day.
Okay.
But of course, lockdown. So we were just stuck in Paris. We just couldn't get on a plane. We just couldn't get there to sign the papers. And again, to make it a bit more fun, we lost the mortgage because, when you get a mortgage, you need to sign before a certain date. And that date expired.
Wow.
So we're stuck in Paris. I was starting a new project. Obviously, no salary, of course. We both quit our jobs, and we didn't have the mortgage anymore.
Right.
So, luckily we did a bit. I hope the banker will not listen, but basically with the last pay slip, we asked a new mortgage. Luckily, they gave it to us.
Wow.
So we could buy the house, and the lockdown in France finished on the 11th of May. On the 12th, we took a plane. It was a nightmare because it was only like 2 planes a day. They were asking you a million questions. We don't remember now, but it was like hell, at the time.
Yes. It seems like it was 4 years ago. If you think about it, 4 years ago, it just kind of went by like that. So you kind of meet your new partner.
I actually met him in July 2021, so 16 months later. For the first 16 months, we never met, like physically.
Only in person, you mean?
Yeah.
Only in person. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So you start a company without meeting your co-founder in person.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I mean, you want to talk about the power of remote work. There it is right there. You start a company with someone you never meet in person. What was it about, there are a lot of job boards out there. More and more remote work job boards started popping up, obviously. So what was it that kind of made your idea unique with your partner? What was it that made JobGether unique in your eyes to fill a void that, there's a good amount of people that were doing that. Indeed, started adding remote jobs. And again, I'm being US centric, of course. But what were your thoughts? What was the unique piece?
So actually, the first product we launched was not what we do today. We did a big pivot after 2 years. The first product was, so we developed an algorithm which was applying on your behalf anonymously. Because what I said to you, our vision to help people find a more meaningful job. A lot of people, when they're working, they don't have the time to actually apply to jobs. They just don't know how to do it. So we thought, let's build the algorithm. You were just filling out a profile on JobGether. And as soon as your profile was matching with a job offer, we had like 84 criteria. The algorithm was applying on your behalf anonymously. Yeah. So you didn't even know you were applying. And, in, let's say, most countries, there are a big problem of discrimination. So we were just hiding anything that could discriminate your profile. So the company was seeing your application, but not if you were like a man or woman, like your skin color, like your religion, like your age, anything that could discriminate you was not visible to the company. And based on everything else, they were deciding, I want to interview that person or not. And if the company wanted to interview you, they were just sending you a request, and then you were receiving an email saying, hi, Kaleem, company X for that role, want to have an interview. And you just had the choice to say yes or no.
Interesting. So the very first product, if I'm understanding this correctly, the version 1 was JobGether would actually apply to these jobs for people. And I'm assuming if you got a denial, the person didn't get a denial.
They never knew who you were.
Right. But I mean, I'm talking about the applicant. Like the applicant didn't get an email that said, oh, shucks, you got a denial, which, from what I understand, when you're applying for lots of jobs, I have a lot of colleagues who are doing this. They're like, yo, those denial emails, they start wearing you down.
Exactly.
Every denial email at first, you're like, oh, no big deal. But then after a while, those denial emails start wearing you down. Was that kind of like the idea behind having an AI, or I shouldn't say AI, but a company kind of doing the applying for you? Was that some of the thought?
It was one of the aspects of the product. But, most importantly, people don't know how to apply, don't know where to apply, don't have the time to apply. So we're like, okay, the machine will do it for you, and we'll try to reduce discrimination, which was a big topic for us. But the thing is, so we had that product for 2 years. We had clients, we were making revenue. However, we made probably all the mistakes you can make as a first-time entrepreneur. We learned a lot. Of course, we built the company fully remote. We had developers in South America. So I was in Spain, Juan in Belgium. We had people in India. We had people in Madagascar. So fully remote. And we also met 2 more co-founders during these 2 years. Alexis, who is the CTO, is from Venezuela, lives in Bogota. And Arnaud, also French, also lives in Spain. And after 2 years, we had, like most companies, like 4 months of cash. And like, okay, guys, what do we do? Do we stick for this 4 months with this product? But most likely we will die. Or let's try something. And so we all met up. And in probably 5 minutes, we killed 2 years of business. We killed the company. And we were saying like remote work was becoming more and more important. We were talking to talents all the time, and they were telling us, during COVID, I moved to the countryside. I don't want to go back to the big cities, but I'm struggling to find a remote job. And when we look at the market, most remote job platforms were US-based only, because that's even today the biggest market for remote jobs. So if you were not American, just forget about it. You really had nowhere to find like truly remote jobs.
Right.
And the big players, the LinkedIn, the Indeed, they're not made for remote jobs. So it's not, made properly. If you are, I don't know, Spanish, for example, and you type remote from Spain, you will only see Spanish companies. Today, what's stopping you from being in Spain and working remotely for a Canadian company? Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So we thought, okay, something's missing. And we basically, in a way, copy the way Indeed is doing. But Indeed is doing all the jobs in the world. And they are fragmented per country. You have Indeed.com for the US, Indeed.co.uk for... So we're going to be global from day one. But we will do aggregation. So we will just, look for who's actually hiring remotely and get all the remote offers on our website. That's why today we have around 180,000. Our competitors have 20,000.
Did you just say you have 180,000 remote jobs on your website?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. We are adding between 15 to 20,000 a week.
Jeez.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. We're also deleting, of course.
Yeah. Because you're deleting jobs that are filled or no longer available or whatever.
Exactly. But to give you an idea, our biggest competitor, 17 years old, they have 25,000 and mostly US. So today, if you are based in, I don't know, Nigeria or Switzerland or wherever, and you type that you want a remote job from the country where you live, you will have results with us.
I get it. So are you also making it so that the jobs you're looking to see whether the company would be willing to hire someone from
Exactly. So
a
that's a
different country?
big part of the job, which is the moderation part. At the beginning, it was purely manual. We had people reading all job postings. Of course, now we automate a lot. We have like a bot reading the full job description. And if the company is, I don't know, American, but they are able to hire from LATAM, we would put on JobGether remote from LATAM and not remote from America, you know. So we had a really good quality of, you know, the way we actually display the job postings.
Well, congratulations.
That's
Sounds cool.
great.
Thank you.
Fantastic work. I had a quick question, Alex, about shifting gears, actually switching sides completely and looking from an employer's perspective. You know, these days more and more people are quitting because they're forced to come back to an office that they don't want to be in. What are your thoughts, you know, if managers were forced to measure the cost of replacing those people instead of allowing them to work from home? What are the major things that they would find?
I think that no one actually calculates the cost of replacing someone. Otherwise, they will not just, you know, let them go because they're forcing them to go back to the office. So I think that's something that only few companies actually measure.
Yeah.
I always say, you know, COVID didn't change, you know, the course of history. I think it just accelerated it. Us as human, we would go to a more flexible world anyway. COVID probably made us, you know, win 20 years or 30 years. And of course, a big change like this, you know, it's been, 4 years really? It's really short for such a big change. Because remote work is not just affecting the way we work, it's affecting the way we live. Because work is, you know, we spend, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day at work. We sleep for 8 hours. So a big part of, you know,
Life.
our awake day.
Yeah.
And it's having a massive impact, you know. And I think, to come back to your question, most companies who allowed remote work were tech companies. And still today, you know, the bank and insurance, they're not there yet. So it's mostly tech companies. For a year and a half, you both know, we all know that the tech industry is not doing well. There's no money anymore like it used to have before. A lot of layoffs, you know, it's complicated for tech companies.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe that remote work was the perfect excuse. We are not selling enough because people are working remotely. We are not doing this enough because people are remote. So I think it's a perfect excuse. And so now what we see is managers, you know, what do managers know? The office. You know, I work in an office for 10 years and I've been working for 14 years. So most of my working life has been in an office, you know, being there at 8, lunch from 12 to 1. So, okay, things are not working, things are changing. We're not going to blame a bad management, of course, because we're not going to blame ourselves. So we're just going to blame remote. So let's go back to what we know, the office. The thing is, people have changed the way they live. People have moved away from the big cities. People have finally found that, you know, yeah, it's fun to have time with the kids. It's fun to see my partner more often. And I like that. So I don't want to lose that now. If you ask me now, would you just sacrifice taking my daughter to school in the morning? No way. I'd rather get a 30% pay cut, but I will not have that anymore. So you have two different like managers trying to save what they can save. Let's go back to what we know. And then on the other side, you have talents. Like, no, work is not my life anymore. And I don't know, America never lived or worked there, but what I read a lot is the place of work in America is really probably much bigger than Europe, for example. But people don't want that anymore. People want to have a life. People want to spend time with the kids, with the friends, with the family. So, of course, it's like a big war happening. And today people quit because they don't want to go back to the office.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about region and location, because you said something that was kind of interesting as far as, you know, you reading about people in the U.S. and then you also said that a lot of the remote jobs are in the U.S. And there's been a good amount of statistics that show like who's going back to the office first from a country perspective. And it seems like most of the world has went back to the office sooner. lower percentage of people working remotely around the rest of the world compared to the US. So you talked a little bit about from the employer perspective. What is kind of the tone of employees around the globe outside of the US? What is their tone as far as their desire to work remotely? And then on top of that, do you think it's even more competitive? You know, JobGether, it's a great resource, but do you think it's extremely competitive because of the desire for people to work remotely outside of the US is, you know, might still be high, but the supply of remote jobs is lower. So can you just talk about like what that relationship's like with employers wanting to work remotely, employees, excuse me, wanting to work remotely, and then what are employers doing outside of the US to offer those jobs?
Yeah, I think I would say, and that's my opinion, I would say because in the US, remote work has been, I would say, more established, you know, compared to the rest of the world. People are more prepared for remote work. They know what it is. They probably have the setup at home. So they are really asking for more remote. So they're just more prepared. And I would say that from my European view, America is usually always ahead of us for many things, and remote being just one of them. And they've been working remote, for some years. So a lot of, in the US, I think the prices of living in the big cities in New York, in San Francisco, is absolutely insane. You know?
Right.
And that much different, we don't have that in Europe, for example. So people during COVID moved away from these big hubs. And just on a financial point of view, it just makes absolutely 0 cents to just spend probably not even 100%, maybe 120% of the salary on just living in these hubs. What we also see is, today we have 1 million visitors on a website, on JobGether. They come from 120 countries. So remote work is not just a US thing. The US visitors are the second country for us. So it's a big country.
Really?
But,
Okay.
we have people, South America, massive. A lot of people from South America are looking for remote work, especially because a lot of American companies, now they are hiring people remotely from LATAM. Same time zone, probably a fifth of the salary. And people in LATAM now speak good English, and they are really good profiles.
Yes.
We see a lot of traffic growing from Southeast Asia, countries like the Philippines. Africa is coming fast because Africa is is the youngest continent. You have a lot of people now, they are 18, 19, 20. They understand that
forever.
They speak English. Half of Africa is natively like English speaker. The rest of Africa, is learning English really fast. I would say before COVID, US companies were hiring remote workers in the US. Now they don't, if you take a company like Dell or GitLab, most of the jobs are open anywhere in the world. Yeah. So that just gives the opportunity to these talents to say, I'm based in Macedonia or I'm based in Japan or wherever. I can work for Dell. 4 years ago, that was not possible. You had to get a green card. You had to move to the US. You had to leave your family. That was a very different story. Now, they stay in the town. They stay living with the family. Yeah. They can get a much better salary. They can work for an amazing American company or an amazing German company or whatever.
Yeah, wherever, yeah.
And, with remote work, the world is truly becoming global. JobGether is a Belgian company. I'm French. One co-founder is from Venezuela. We have people in India. We have people in Madagascar. We have people in Ukraine, in Israel. That's how the future of work will look like.
That's a great clip right there, sir. That's a great clip to lead into the question. Wow, that is what the future of work will look like. Just just hit it right there. Hit it hard.
I think I need the claps now.
Where were you, studio audience, when we needed you? Where were you?
There we should go. Yes. There we go.
Man. Great. That's great. Yeah, well, Alex, can you share with us a comical or inspiring moment you had while working remotely?
Yes.
For me, you probably remember this video. I don't know if the guy was actually, I think he was British. He was a journalist, and he was recording like an interview from his living room. And at some point, you see his kids coming to the room, and you see the nanny crawling on the floor. You see everything. The guy is becoming red. He's so embarrassed.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get this clip in. We're gonna get this clip in the show because we gotta see it.
This clip is so funny, and I really think 90% of the people I talk to, like on video, know my daughter.
Okay.
Because, especially like we work a lot with like American and South American clients. So I do a lot of Zoom calls in the afternoon, like in the evening. And I pick up my daughter from school at 5:00. So anything after 5, she's here, she's around. Okay. And I tell her, if I'm on a video, just don't come, I need to work. But she's 6, and of course she's a kid, and sometimes she just wants to ask me whatever, like anything,
Yeah.
Can I go to the bathroom? I still don't know why she asked that, but to whatever. And I always remember this guy like so embarrassed, and now it's just becoming normal. I've got my daughter around, and I think it's really showing that, we have evolved so much because now no one cares anymore, and it's like a normal thing. You see people's cats walking by the screen, you see the kids, you see whatever. So for me, that's quite a funny thing. I always remember this guy back in like 4 or 5 years ago, so embarrassed, and now it's just normal.
I can't wait to check that out. We're going to check that out for sure. But yeah, I agree with you. The kids in the background are common. Nobody really even second guesses it. In my opinion, I think the cats walking across the screen are the weirdest. You know what I mean? You see the cat, and then they turn around. You see the little sphincter in the camera. The cat's camera sphincter is not a great.
Cats are always starting shit with people. They cannot be trusted.
They are always starting shit.
They were like, "Oh, did you want this?" And they just knock it right off the counter.
That's great, man.
Alex, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Where can our listeners find you?
I only use one social media, it's LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn. I share a lot of content. And if you want to follow me or connect with me, send me a question. I'll always answer. It could take a couple of days, but LinkedIn is just the best. And it's just Alex Hernandez.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all of your insight. Congratulations on your success with JobGether. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me.
Yes, it's been fun, man. It's been fun for sure. So come back anytime, man. Peace.
You've been listening to Remotely One. Visit us at remotely1.com/podcast for upcoming episodes. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and download our episodes on your favorite podcast app.
Hey, don't forget to clock out.